Good morning, everybody. Give me 1 second. I'll get the fancy spark started, and then we'll go. All kinds of stuff this morning, huh? Let's get that off. Let's get going here, and we'll go from there. And we'll go there. All right, cool. Let's get to it and go from there and get to this. I'll get back to that in a moment. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Good morning, cool cats and kittens. How's this going? This is in my face. Let's put that back here and go from there. Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna like the elephant in the room to me is just that you're wedged in here against that 200, and looks like we're having a technical. There it goes. It's been glitchy lately. I actually have the guy coming out today to look at this from Verizon, or I think it's not Verizon, it's something else. It's what the heck is it here? It's Hotwire, which is underwhelming at all for anyone that's in Florida. And when you're in a building like this, you can't even switch. It's really freaking maddening how slow this thing is for what I pay. But anyway, I thought it was me because I'm such a master with the internets. I would just watch this like a hawk today. You have a lot of news coming out. I think that it's super important, these levels, and go from there. And really focus on this. Like, I'm not really sure what the issue is with this system today. Let's see if we can get this to work or what we're going to wind up doing. Perfect. So I would be real careful here with some of these levels, like super careful, watching how you acted yesterday, and really want to focus on this, like Friday level, that 830 breakout on everything. I don't like the fact that you're under it, and I don't like the fact today, not only that you're under it, but that you're having a hard time even getting back near it. That does not make me feel great. And then what you're going to see from there, that's your 830 level right here, and then go from there, right? And then we'll see how this goes from here. But we'll say, I think it's super, super interesting that you're broken here. And I think that people are sick of the rhetoric, like get something done. I do. They're your big levels on the day. Like I don't think it gets any cleaner than that. Then you got to get back over that 830 level, and I don't know that you are. So it's definitely an issue for me looking at that. So we'll see how this goes here. And if we go here and look at the ES, you're going to see the same exact thing. And I think that this is super important. Again, you just mark that off, that 830 level, you broke. You can't get over it. This is not what you want to see. And I think what's happening here, from my perspective and looking at this, I think people are getting to the point with this where they're like, yeah, I've had enough. And let me just see where we're at here. What do you got for me? Oh, 830. Cool. Thanks, man. I think people are getting to the point of it like they've had enough. So I don't really blame them. Like get something done or don't get something done, but about, everything from how big and beautiful it is. It's like, it's getting super old, and either get something done or don't. You're a couple months out. I think you got 2.5 months left of this. So, all right, I don't know. It's like these people don't know that I'm actually online now. It's fascinating. Let's keep going here. Get that done. So watch this 830. Watch this 830 level here, and we'll go from there. I think that's super important. Super important to start with. If we looked at what's going on out there, for my thoughts on like things like HIMS. I thought this was a really good report. I thought the subs could be a little higher, but if you lost, that drug, then you have to think of it like, oh, okay, well, if I'm going to lose that drug, well, that's going to be a problem, right? Because they lost they weren't able to sell the fat loss drug. And then you're like, okay, well, you can see this volume here in a second. I'll show you. To me, this is like your big range, that 5-minute range. The fact that they're rolling out the new product, I think it's good. I think it's a little ahead of itself, but I thought it was really good. revenues were a little off on the quarter, but that makes sense too, because they lost that core product, but now they have a solution to it. So, I went into it long and I married puts to it. So, but I'm not even sure. Well, those puts should help me out pretty nicely now once it breaks into the 38s. But when I look at stuff like this, I don't know that there's a whole heck of a lot for me to do about it. Like, I don't know that there's much to do here. I think you really got to watch a lot of the, like a lot of the news today and watch how that news comes out. But watch this on the volume side before we go any further. You're seeing these spikes on the volume. I had one here. It should have held, but then I got a major spike on vol. Like, you can't see it because it's pre-market, but you got a $250,000 dump there. Like, that's a big dump. And you ran right through that like a hot knife through butter. So I'd watch that low there and see how that goes. You don't want to break that 38 level. If you break that, you're probably going lower. So you might want to watch that off the open and kind of see if it breaks there or it doesn't break there. That's definitely one that's on the radar. So, and then we'll go from there. But I do like that a lot. I really do like that one, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I can't stress that enough. Like, I think that's like a really great level to watch. Like, you want, like, the fact that you bounced off there, came all the way back. What you want to see is this kind of stuff. Like, watch, like, look how clean that is from that 5-minute bar over. Like, you couldn't break there all last night, and then this morning you couldn't get over it. Like, that 39.80 is everything this morning. It really is. So I'd watch that 39.80 like a hawk. But again, I don't know that there's a tremendous amount that I would do there. PLTR I thought was really good as well, and no one seems to care. I actually did a long trade, and we'll see, like, right in here. So hard, and like, you broke down yesterday, like, super hard. I don't know how much there is here. I don't know. You gotta watch this, and you gotta watch this like super closely today. I think people need to be really cognizant of what transpired, in the market for the past like 18 days, I think it is, since the bottom, and where we're at now and how this stuff's playing out. And I think that's the most important thing that I could give any advice on today. Like, you rallied a lot off this pause. It's been 18 days. Nothing's been done. And this is usually what happens. There usually is a technical level. I should turn that a little bit. There's usually a technical level that will tie into, everything else. So in other words, like, here, I'll show you what I mean by this. So if I go and take a look at NQ for a second. Okay. I don't know why it always gives me the seed company. If you go and look at NQ, I'll show you what I mean by this. So, like, we're up here, and I'll clean all this off for a second. We're up here, right? And everybody's like, ooh, we're at this level, whatever. Let's say we don't hold this level, or we do, whatever. But when you got up here, all of a sudden, everyone's going to start looking at this and going, oh, well, we got to the 200. This is when you run into an issue, right? Like on the NQ. But what's really interesting about it is it's falling into place exactly when sentiment is starting to shift on this. Like, hey, bro, you told us you had this. You told us 90 days. We started buying again. I keep hearing about this big, beautiful tax cut bill and this big, beautiful tariff bill. And I'm not saying it that way to be facetious. I'm using the exact words that he's saying. And we've been waiting 18 days. And you can't even get into a partnership with the people that are next to us, like Mexico and Canada. Like, you can't figure that out. Like, they're right there. We've never had an issue with them. So, like, when you start to see that, it becomes an issue. So I'll give you like an example. Today, you're going to get the Canadian Prime Minister is going to come down and talk. And, you know, if that doesn't go well, it's going to be an issue for the market. Because if you can't get along with, like, if you can't get along with Canadians, like, who are you getting along with? So it's just kind of how I look at it, you know, and I think the market was going to look at it that way too. Bessonnet speaks today. That's going to be super interesting for people. So he'll speak in Congress, and EU came out guns blazing today and said, hey, if we don't get a deal soon, we're going to put 100 billion on 100 billion on your stuff. There was an article today, you know, I should find this super quick. They were teasing me in the community, but let me see if I can find this super quick here. And if I can, I'll show you it, because this is what's happening since that de minimis thing. Let me see if I can find this like super quickly. If I can, I'll show you. I don't know how people don't get this. They were coming out with these quotes yesterday. They were going through top 10 quotes of Buffett. He's got some good ones that I actually agree with. I just like tormenting people because people are like so in love with them. Give me a second here. I'll find it. Because I don't think people understand that this started happening Friday night. And I also think that this is one of the things. Here it is. So I don't think people get this yet. I didn't know that you were going to start seeing it this way. But here, I'll show you this. So, and I do think that people are like, well, does that really affect you? Yeah. You know, it's always like not, oh no, we want to do this, but not in my backyard. But this lady goes out, buys a bikini, the bikini, right? Subtotal's $99, shipping's $20. I can't say it with a straight face. The duties are $175.63. So the item she wants to buy is $100. Now it's $302. Like, how many people are got that this weekend? And I think that's one of the reasons why you're seeing this on the internets, and we're seeing weakness. So I do think that you want to understand that this is timing perfectly with the idea also that sentiment on this is getting kind of wary. And I don't know what he's going to say tomorrow. You know, Trump's taking a lot of shots at Powell, and Powell only has a year left. I'm not saying he's going to fire back, but if he wanted to, you know, all he's got to talk about is the massive uncertainty being created with the tariff plan. That's all he's got to do. And it's realistic, but I don't think he's going to. So I think you're getting some uncertainty around that as well. But we're just not getting anywhere. And I think people have had it. So that's kind of where I'm at. And that's really the big things that I want to go over that I think could add the most value to you today. From where I'm at, and looking at the market, I think the best thing I could do, you know, for me, I want to just take questions today. So, anything software looks great. I think the software names look excellent. I really do. I don't know that I want to be jumping into high price software names here when all of a sudden the NDX put on the brakes. I see them. I've been watching this sucker forever. I think there's going to come a time. I don't know that I want to be in them here at the high end of the space until I see what the heck happens here. And I don't think I'm going to be alone in that. What's starting to happen, it started happening like on Friday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Monday, you saw go long, stay long, follow the trend. I don't know, man. I don't know that I think we're going to go back to some chop up here for a little bit. So I don't know, man. I don't know that I want to be buying those kinds of names here right now, like long term. I'm looking more at like the lower beta stuff, put money to work, just, you know, chill, get a nice cup of coffee, a really good book. I just got a new book, pretty excited about it. You know, buying that kind of stuff right now, maybe, you know, for the day trades. Yeah. That's not really me, man. I'm not that interested in that. This is on my list. I like this a lot. I think this just looks perfect. It just does. You come out with earnings, you rip the retest, the lift, the over, like it's just perfect. You got a bunch of volume and everything's exactly what I'm looking for. I can't stress that enough. So, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I really like that. I really do. And it's definitely something I'm paying attention to. I don't know that I want to be in the super thin names right now that don't have institutional support. As far as names that are out there, Cart to me makes a lot of sense, but and you crushed on earnings. Anything like this right now, anything, it's killing me. Anything like that right now that has earnings growth that's going to be driven by AI, making them more efficient. To me, they're just home runs. Like these companies are going to become so efficient, like Dash, Uber. Like I love that entire space right now. It's more a function of when, to me. It's more a function of when. So I think you're at that spot now where, when is probably not now. And so what I want to do with that is kind of see when is going to be. Because I don't think when's right now. I think when's a little bit down the old line. So what I look at when I look at something like this is going, okay, what do I really want to do here? I see it. I see the volume. I see the earnings. I don't know. I don't know that I'd want to do that here. Because I would look at it and go, where am I getting to? Like, where am I getting to? See, the issue with these names now is this going to be where we're going to wind up? Like, if I go back to this level, that's like saying everything's fixed with what we're dealing with, right? I'm not so sure I want to be in that camp. I think that's one of the things that's got me like really kind of twisted when I look at Microsoft too, because Microsoft's had nothing but net buyers, right? But Microsoft's trading like January levels, like, oh, tariffs are fixed, everything's groovy. And I think people are looking at it going, yeah, I don't mind owning it, but do I want to own it here? And at the same point, like, you watch something like an Apple and you're looking at this going, what's this have to do with car? You're looking at like an Apple and, they can't get out fast enough. I'm long this, by the way, but so what does that have to do with stuff like CART? Well, I don't know how you're going to be up in this area and stay in this area with all the uncertainty that you have going on right now. I'm not so sure that that's the play. I'm not so sure of that just right now. Dash to me, Julian, like Dash looks great. I mean, it really does. Like, to me, it looks amazing. What are you down today because of the earnings? Cool. This is what I want. This is really what I'm looking for, this kind of stuff. So I can't stress that enough. Like, this is exactly what I'm looking for out of a name. Like, come on down. You have these names that are dropping like 10%, $10, 5%. I don't think we're at 5 yet, right? Getting there. But we have 4.5. What I'm going with is this has been like the rhetoric of what you've seen. You've seen these names kind of explode, implode the next day. And then people are like, well, why'd you sell that? I don't know. And then you're rallying back up. So I do think there's something to that. I would look at that and go, okay, what do we do with this? Well, my sense of it is, and it goes for all of them, you want to watch the previous day closes. And if you start getting below the previous day closes and the previous day lows, across the board, you probably want to be super careful today. Netflix, I own. I like it a lot. It is very clear to me that they want to own Netflix. Like, I don't think, it's in my top list. I should probably throw it in that red list that I'm going to sort today, but it is very clear they want to own Netflix. Like, the amount of volume that came in Netflix on that dip was pretty excessive. And all you did was have your second all-time high close. Like, it's crazy that that's what happened yesterday. So that makes it, they want to own that. PLTR, I own. I'm still up in the trade, but maybe it's ahead of itself. 112's got to hold. I mean, you see that level right there, and you got to hold that now. And I think you will. I do think you will hold it, but do you need to be rushing into that right now? I don't think so. I think it'd be super active today, but I don't know. I need to be rushing into that. What's up, Albino? What do you got here? Lumen MNSO. MNSO. Yeah. KC. Kling software. Cloud software. Yeah, that I get. That makes a ton of sense, but that's it. Test blips. So I get that. I mean, I can see why that's appealing. Actually, I can even do it this way. Just use the bodies. Rather use the bodies. It's just easier to see. You probably want more volume. Looks like Dash is out. I thought Dash was tonight. Maybe they pre-announced it. I don't know. Looks like I thought Dash was tonight. Maybe I'm off. Maybe it was this morning. Well, I mean, it's out, so it doesn't really matter what I have, right? But I think that the street had. I don't know why you're not on my list. That's odd. That's super odd. Why aren't you on my list? Yeah, DoorDash, it was scheduled Wednesday night after the close. It's saying here Tuesday, but they said Wednesday night, so they pre-announced. All right, I gotta find out what's going on there. It looks like they pre-announced, right? Is that what they did? Maybe they pre-announced. All right. The dual that they crushed. My concern up here is not that they crushed. My concern is, are these people going to hold if this comes in? That's my concern, because these are the names you want to own. Like, they just, man, they crushed. Like, it was just such a good report, and nobody expected it. So yeah, 100%. Like, names like this. I mean, that really, I'd be looking at the application names when they pull back. I think that makes the most sense. I think something's coming here on the power front. I don't know what. So I'm going to hold off on that. This one I like a lot. Hopefully they get smoked on earnings. Yeah, we'll see. Hey, Alan. Yeah, I actually thought this was super interesting that it's up, and that guidance was good, considering everyone's talking about travel. What's up, Tariq? Yep, please hit the like button. This is where all the cool kids are. Uranium's where all the cool kids are. Just hit Steven. Good morning from Lafayette, Louisiana. Good morning from Miami. Yeah, I think what's happening here with this kind of stuff is it does make a lot of sense. I've been looking at this stuff, and I just really want a deal done. What I want and what I'm getting are two different things, and so I'm just holding off on it. But yeah, it looks great. This looks great, Julian. China names I'm not touching. I'm not touching. They cut some kind of deal with Europe or something. That's not their market. It's their market. It's not their market. Like, they have to do something with the U.S. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know what they're going to do. You know, one minute they're going to talk, the next minute they're not going to talk. Like, this one always made sense to me. JD always made sense to me if you wanted to try it, because the amount of cash that they have outstanding, it's very, very cheap. But like, the idea that I'm going to buy, you know, PDD or BABA when these guys are out there triple taxing, like, it's insanity. There's no way in the world I'd buy those names. So, yeah, like that stuff, like Yang, and you know, I'd be super careful here on both sides of that. Yeah, the delinquencies are getting worse. I did see that on the cars, and I did see it on the loan front too. You're 100% right about that, and I did see that, and it's projected, like, I forget what it's projected. I have notes on this. Minimum credit card payments are now up. People that are making the minimum credit card payment are now 11% versus 8%. But there's this other thing that I have. There's 1.6 trillion in student debt. 5 million borrowers have not made a monthly payment in over 360 days. 4 million are in the late stages, 90 to 180 days. The estimate is 10 million borrowers are going to default on student loans in the next few months. 25% of student loan portfolio will be in default. Student loans are such a scam. It's such a scam. I remember looking at, I was reading all this consumer stuff last night, and it's absolutely fascinating to me, but you're definitely, you're on to something there. How do you have too much victory music? Uranium. I actually think that's this makes a lot of sense. I don't know that I need to be there right now, but I think it makes a ton of sense to look at that and try to figure out what you're going to do there. That's my sense of it. I could be off, but I do think it makes sense. What's up, Ed? Take two. It's hard. A lot of people liked buying that dip. I don't know. You're out a year on this thing. It could go another year where they delay it again. MDB software, to me, good luck. Zscale software, maybe not. Good luck. Like, you got to see those numbers. So they're very hard here. Yeah, the oil dumping, as they're not really increasing productivity. Really what you want to do is watch how you have these extreme moves and that undercut, and then you'd watch this too. And you'd see like the divergence here. So I actually have a different take on oil here. And it's one of the reasons why I'm not super negative on the entire market here. But I do think you're going to go through a period of like some chop out there. See that? So it's not perfect yet, but it's getting there. That could hold. Yeah, bro, when you upset Canada, you're the problem. That's how I feel about it. What's up, Charlie? Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff out there. We can go through that real quick. There's a bunch of stuff out there that should give people a little pause after yesterday. I was hoping for like, all right, let's keep the band playing. Like, where's the news? That's a first, second, and third, and you're near that second one, but you know, could you go higher? You can. What I always look for on the weekly is like, where are we? Like, where's my median line? My median line's right there, and we still didn't flip it. So if you're not flipping the median line and you're through all these, you just got to be a little careful. But again, I just have a first. They're standard, guys. It's just a first for those that are going to ask me. It's just first, second, and third standard deviation. But yeah, I mean, I see it's not the end of the world. You don't have to get to a second and just stop. Whoa. You can see how you pop out of the third. People are like, oh, just buy when it pops out of the third. I mean, you can, but you hit it here too. Like, as long as you're just going to scale into it, I think it makes sense. But I don't know. I think you have to look at this and say, yeah, I think you'd have to look at that and say, I would need more than just that for it to make a decision. And I think you're getting it this morning with people just getting really sick of the rhetoric. So, but we'll see how it goes. Pretty much. Yeah, I think these kinds of names are going to work. I do. I think like this kind of like the ASTS. I think like the Rocket Labs. I think that they make a lot of sense to look at. I don't know if today's the day. But I think that's how you have to look at it. I think you need to be super careful. Like, I think you need to be so careful levering right now, dude. The amount, especially if you're not used to it, you got to be super careful. I got to jump, guys. Trade to win today.